So the Explorer's Guide to Wildemount, for anyone who's unfamiliar, we've talked about it before, but the Explorer's Guide to Wildemount is the Matt Mercer and Dungeons & Dragons collaboration, Critical Role, I should say, and Dungeons & Dragons collaboration, where the Dungeon Master Matt Mercer's campaign setting of Wildemount is being published as an official D&D campaign setting, and there are a few subclasses in that book that are, built into the world and things that the characters in that world can do, that are being released as official player content. And I didn't realize that they were out until just now, but we're going to be talking about those. There's 3 of them here, which are the Echo Knight, the Chronurgist. It's so hard to say. The Chronurgist and the Graviturgist, which are all of these abilities are features that play into the manipulation of space and time, because Absolutely. That is a key component of the campaign and that world.
And potentiality, the potential of alternate timelines is also another big, especially for this Echo Knight class. This is really, really cool, just from not even from just a mechanical or the character concepts, but the whole idea of the Explorer's Guide to Wildemount being officially released by Wizards of the Coast for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons and not being just another homebrew release, like their first book. The thing that's so cool about it is this is something brand new, a brand new IP being brought into the greater Dungeons & Dragons, right? In the future, when we have a 6th edition Dungeons & Dragons, there may be content released for this setting, which is just crazy to me. This could become like Eberron was in 3rd edition. Eberron was a brand new setting brought into 3rd edition that is a fan favorite, is beloved, and has made the transition over to 5e. And we might see the same kind of stuff with this in the future. I'm very excited that it's happening.
There's going to be people that are going to be complaining when 5e comes out and well, I haven't seen a gunslinger yet, or I haven't seen an Echo Knight yet. And I assume if they continue to produce content, you'll see some of Matt Mercer's other famous homebrew.
Absolutely.
Will get published officially as well. But the Echo Knight's the first one here, and we're going to go into this, I think, in a little bit more detail. This is a first read for myself and you as well, Jeremy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've glanced at it, but I have not really given it any actual real. I think I read the first feature. Just to quickly, though, before we jump into this, for those who are just joining us, we are Fantasy Labs, where we evaluate homebrew, and I guess in this case, official content, to help us become better dungeon masters, help us understand how the game works, how these features might interact in a game, and to help make us better dungeon masters. So yeah, if you want to learn more about our show, you can check out our website, dndtime.stream, and check out our Twitch stream, twitch.tv/dndtime. We stream every Friday and then almost every Sunday too. So check us out. All right, Pete, the Echo Knight. What is the Echo Knight? Do you know what the Echo Knight is, Pete?
I haven't gotten far. I feel like
I'm caught up, so I know what I
am super far behind. I think it's about to start
spoilers
appearing in the part that I'm at, but well, let me tell you what an Echo Knight is, though. It's a mysterious and feared frontline warrior of the Kryn dynasty. The Echo Knight has mastered the art of using dunamis to summon the fading shades of unrealized timelines to aid them in battle. Surrounded by echoes of their own might, they charge into the fray as a cycling swarm of shadows and strikes. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Some of that is kind of steeped in the lore of that world, the phrase dunamis and things.
Yeah, dunamis is basically the magic of timeline to potentiality. Is that what it's supposed to be?
But that is the Echo Knight.
Sounds suspiciously similar to Farku. Yeah, exactly, Sword. You may not know this, but he's not actually a paladin. Yeah, it's very, very neat.
That's so right, too. It really is.
Jumping right in, at level 3, they get a feature called Manifest Echo, and this is like the core concept of the class. Everything else is built around this, and this is how it works. As a bonus action, you can magically manifest an echo of yourself in an unoccupied space you can see within 15 feet of you. It is a magical, translucent gray image that lasts until it is destroyed, or until you dismiss as a bonus action, or until you manifest another echo or are incapacitated. There were a lot of ors that I added in there because I'm bad at reading. The Echo has an AC of 14 plus proficiency bonus, 1 hit point, immunity to all conditions. If it has to make a saving throw, it uses your saving throw bonus for the roll. It is the same size as you, and it occupies its space. On your turn, you can mentally command it to move up to 30 feet in any direction without requiring an action. And if it's more than 30 feet of you at the end of your turn, it's destroyed. And it can be used in the following ways. As a bonus action, you can teleport, magically swapping places between yourself and the Echo at a cost of 15 feet of movement, regardless of the distance between you, the two of you. When you take the attack action on your turn, any attack you make with that action can originate from the space of your Echo or your own space. And you can make this choice for each attack. When a creature you can see within 5 feet of your Echo moves at least 5 feet away from it, you can use your reaction to make an opportunity attack against that creature as if you were in the Echo's space. All right, that's pretty cool. You summon your Shadow Boy.
A shadow lad, just for you to run around with.
This is pretty cool. I like this a lot.
I agree. I like it as well. I am just still wrapping my head around everything that it does.
Yeah, it does a lot. I mean, the free teleportation is very cool and powerful.
That's the thing that I actually am a little bit thrown off by. Okay, never mind. I figured it out.
You swap places, yeah.
Well, I get that you swap places. I wasn't sure what it said 15 feet of your movement. I didn't know if it was counting the Echo's movement or just your move. So your Echo can always move 30 feet, but you can use 15 feet to swap with it.
Mm-hmm. It's a little weird.
But I don't think it's my first instinct that there's no way to like break that into just getting extra speed. So
yeah, I don't think so.
Because your Echo goes behind you, and then you have to resummon your Echo. I guess.
Yeah, I don't. There you can't because something takes a bonus action, and then commanding it also takes an bonus action.
Well, so you know what you could do? You could essentially make this into a rogue's cunning action with a 30-foot teleport every turn, by running away from your Echo, and then you summon your Echo 30 feet in front of you.
Yeah.
But you have to use your bonus action to swap with it.
So it's a bonus action disengage, basically.
Every other turn that you can use it, kind of, unless you're staying in the same area. Anyway, it doesn't work.
There's some funkiness with it, but it's a limited teleport.
It works. Basically. Yeah, I'm just trying to I actually don't even think it's problematic. I was just wanting to see if I could break it at all, which I don't think.
Oh yeah, and it's really important to think about that when you're evaluating content. Like, does this break really easily? Because if the answer is yes, it's a problem. I will say, this last part, where you can take opportunity attacks from the Echo, it just says when it moves at least 5 feet away from it. So you can't disengage from an Echo. The way this is written.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I believe.
Well, you can disengage, because doesn't it disengage just say you can't take opportunity attacks, and this is an opportunity attack?
No, what disengage says, I think, let me quickly open it up.
I thought that was
disengage. Your movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks for the rest of the turn. I guess, yeah. It says you make an opportunity attack. I guess because he uses the word opportunity attack, I guess you can. That's just a weird.
Yeah, no, this would.
Okay. Never mind. So I guess this is whatever. This is cool. You get another feature at 3rd level, though.
Okay. Let's do that.
Yeah. You want to read this one, Pete?
You can heighten
your Echoes. Are you still wrapping your head?
No, I got it. I'm good on it now. Unleash Incarnation, the other feature. You can heighten your Echo's fury. Whenever you take the attack action, you can make one additional melee attack from the Echo's position. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your Constitution modifier, a minimum of once. Huh. Pretty good.
Yeah.
We'll assume,
I think that's a little too strong, but maybe I'm wrong. It's kind of hard to.
3 Constitution, I think, is a safe thing to say.
Yeah.
At the level that you're getting this.
+2, probably. If you're doing point buy.
Yeah, +3 or +2, either one, I think is reasonable. Well, I think you're being.
If you roll stats, it could be real good.
Well, yeah, but I think you can say +3 because you're definitely incentivized to go con if you're this.
Instead of strength, though.
But you would go strength 16 and then plus
con also 16, right?
I'm saying playing a race that allows you to do this.
Sure. How good do you think that is? I mean, I think the big thing here is how strong really is that teleportation? Because without the teleportation, a couple of extra attacks at 3rd level, that alone, that's a class feature, right?
Yes.
And then with the extra teleportation and the fact that the Echo can take hits, I don't know.
Well,
This might be
also, like,
a little strong for a third level feature.
well, let's talk like an optimal scenario here too, because I'm pretty sure an optimal scenario is your Echo's over there, you run in, hit, swap with your Echo, and then they hit, and now you're away from your enemy. You've cut it away from your enemy, and now the Echo's in front of them.
And now the Echo gets an opportunity.
And now the Echo gets an op attack when you move away.
Yeah.
To go after you. Or they waste their turn getting rid of your Echo, which you can summon in a bonus action.
Yeah, I think it's very, very powerful for a third level feature, I think, if used optimally. And that's the thing. I think this is very much like a game of chess, this class already.
I was going to say, this is a feature that's very much not conducive to the theater of the mind.
Oh yeah, not even a little bit.
Which is, I don't super like that, but also like, yeah. Like, I mean, this would be a thing that would be kind of hard. It's not, there's nothing that's not playable in that regard, but it's a little tough. Like, for example, in D&D time, the logistics of where you are and where your Echo is, I could definitely see that getting very confusing very, very quick.
It's really cool. I like this, and I think actually the design is pretty neat, like pretty concise for what it does.
Yeah, I agree.
It would be very hard to play in the theater of the mind, I think. And
it's strong.
Yeah, it's definitely quite strong.
I don't think it's broken strong, but I think it's strong.
I'm trying to think of how it compares to the other fighters, right? That's where I'm really getting lost.
Well, at third level, I would say it's actually, I think Battlemaster is really strong when you take it at third level. But like compared to an extra crit range, consumable attacks,
being able to teleport all the time.
The teleport's the big thing that's gonna always be with you. I don't know.
A lot of restrain mechanics you just ignore. Like a lot of monsters, they bite you, that grapples you, that restrains you. And that is the death knell on fighters. They have to spend their action to get out of that. You spend a bonus action, you're out, and you're attacking them a bunch of times. And if they try and come back after, you get an opportunity attack.
This is a strong statement, but I guess you could think about it as immunity to the restraint condition. It's not that.
It's not, but yeah, it's very strong. Very, very strong. I'm interested to see how strong it actually is in play, you know?
Agreed.
But I could definitely see this having, I think from a playability perspective, right? I could see this becoming an issue from tracking where the Echo is, and also how.
But again, specifically, if you're playing Theater of the Mind. I mean, if you have a game board, you can just look at the Echo.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Echo goes away if you end your turn more than 30 feet from it. Sorry, if your Echo is ever more than 30 feet from you at the end of your turn, it's destroyed, right? I could see that being like, but my Echo's over here. It's like, but it's 35 feet from you. Oh, so it was gone a turn ago. I didn't know that. You know, I could see that being like a problem.
Yeah, I mean,
that's just a very short distance.
It is a short distance, for sure.
Disregard freedom of movement, in a way, is immunity to restraint. You're right. It is exactly that, Frank. Let's move on. Let's talk about this Echo Avatar.
Echo Avatar. You want to take this one, Jeremy?
Yeah, you can temporarily transfer your consciousness to your Echo. As an action, you can see through your Echo's eyes, hear through its ears. During that time, you are deafened and blinded. So it's like a familiar, basically. You can sustain this effect up to 10 minutes, and you can end it at any time. It requires no action. While your Echo is being used this way, it can be up to 1,000 feet away from you without being destroyed. I am kind of funky about this. I get it, but this is really weird because, right, like, that brings a question right off the bat to me. Can I stealth as my Echo?
Yeah, exactly.
And this is nothing about skills.
Does your Echo have your stats?
Yeah.
Because the Echo as an abstract concept, which is kind of what it is in the first feature, it's a concept and not a creature. It just has an AC that you can hit with it, and it has a hit point that you can.
It can be destroyed.
With. Yeah. But it is essentially more of a class feature than it is a creature. So yeah.
And now it's like a creature.
Yeah, this doesn't really work in the context of what they've already established in the first feature. And in terms of the idea of it, Like,
Well, it just leaves a question. I mean, I think the answer is no. It can't take skills or try and hide or anything. I think it can just move as 30 feet as a bonus action on your turn. But
it's a good point. Yeah, maybe it's fine then. Maybe that's just what it is.
yeah,
also
it's just
don't
I
look
can see a
1,000 feet
player
away.
being disappointed, you know, like being unhappy with that. But I don't know. Polymorph and echoes means, yeah, good point, Matty Morgs. I think the idea is it's not a creature. It's explicitly not a creature. It has armor class, it has hit points, it has bonus to saving throws. It's not a creature. So I don't think you can do stuff like polymorph to it, which also might mean a lot of effects don't target it, which would be weird. But I think that's how it's supposed to be.
You can't hold person and echo, but that actually feels kind of correct to me.
Yeah,
it can get hit in an AoE, but it can't. But then also, like,
well, the problem is you can't hold person the echo. You hold person the person,
and it's saving
commanding
throws.
The echoes are frozen.
I mean, that's true, but you couldn't hold person just the echo. But also, 1,000 feet is kind of specific and hard to track. I guess that's the only way to do it, but I guess that's the same thing as a familiar. It's a familiar's 500 feet.
Yeah, I see everybody was asking if I've got a cool magic item that can cast spells, can I cast them with the echo? I mean, I think it should just be whatever it says here, right? It's when you make an attack, you can make it through the echo. I think it's pretty clear here.
No,
yeah, when you take the attack action,
exactly one thing, and that is
attack.
Yeah,
that's it. So no, everybody, it's exactly what it says. Grapple cannot echo. I mean, echo cannot grapple.
And that makes sense. It's an echo.
Only make an attack. Yeah.
Like, it feels right for what it is. Like, this is an echo of you. It's not you. It's just like, it just swings its sword, a mirror of what you would be doing. Like,
yeah. And I think, actually, this is a really interesting discussion that we've been having, right? Like, what are the limits of the echo? And I think it's clear enough in here what they are. It's not a creature, can't do a bunch of these things. I think that's the kind of stuff as a dungeon master you'd want to talk to your player about if they wanted to play an Echo Knight. And as a player, you'd want to think about this stuff before you tried it, because it doesn't say that the Echo can stealth, can use skills. You know, it doesn't say that the Echo can grapple it, so it can make the attack action. And so these are the kind of things you might want to figure out before you try them in your games. Let's move on to that Shadow Martyr feature, Pete, because this is a really cool one. You want to take him?
Sure. I have not looked at it yet. You can make your echo throw itself in front of an attack directed at another creature you can see. Before the attack roll is made, you can use your reaction to teleport the echo to an unoccupied space within 5 feet of the targeted creature. The attack roll that triggered the reaction is instead made against your echo. So this is, you just swap your echo with yourself when you're attacked.
Yeah, well, it's any creature you can see.
Oh, wait.
The echo takes the hit.
Those are really good.
It's incredibly good. You get to use it once, though. So I actually don't think this is
never mind. I thought it was just a feature. I didn't.
No, you get this feature one time. So I think this is brutal. Like, this is really cool. This is exactly the kind of class fantasy I think I would have from, I get to create these shadow illusions of myself, right? I like that a lot.
I agree. That's great.
Yeah. Very powerful, but very cool. And very flavorful.
It's powerful, but I think as a one a day, it's not even like
that powerful. Yeah. Well, here's the key, right? It's before the attack roll is made. You don't get to see the attack roll. You don't get to see the damage roll.
You're not dodging crits.
Yeah, exactly. This is like, oh my goodness, my wizard is prone on the ground in front of the Gristro. I'm gonna just throw my shadow clone out there. It's gonna take the hit. We're good, guys.
But there's also a playability thing there, though, of like, your dungeon master is just going to be like, all right, the Gristro attacks, he crits, and the fighter is going to go, oh, but I have my Shadow Martyr.
And, you know, that's always a problem in 5e. Yeah, I think that's a much bigger problem online than in person. But I don't think we can do too much to prevent that, you know? Like, that's just...
Well, that's the issue. Well, the way you have to do it is, as a DM, be very rigorous about saying, the Gristro is going to attack you.
Exactly.
But no one does that because it sucks to do.
Well, I've done that quite a few times, especially if I know I have a player who's got an ability like it.
Yeah, things like, for example, if you know your player's using counterspell, you'll be like, oh, they're about to cast a spell.
Well,
Would you like to counter it? You know,
narratively, right? You'd be like, yes, a Sararak the Lich pulls back his hand and the magical energy of a spell begins to conjure. Your time is nigh, mortals. Right, that gives your player the time to be like, counter spell, you know?
Yeah, well, there's always like that's again,
or in this case, Echo Knight.
That's more of a larger issue than it is this one. So it's a cool feature. I like it a lot.
I agree. Also, hello, Zenfrox. Welcome. It's good to see you.
Zen.
Yeah, let's talk about reclaim potential. This is a feature I hate. I get it. I don't like it. You've learned to absorb the fleeting magic of your echo. When an echo of yours is destroyed by taking damage, you can gain a number of temporary hit points equal to 2d6 plus your con modifier, provided you don't already have temporary hit points. That text isn't necessary. Once you use this feature you can use this feature a number of times equal to your Constitution modifier, and you can regain all uses at the end of a long rest.
No, that text.
That already it doesn't matter because the way the rules for temp hit points don't matter.
It means if you have temporary hit points, you can't use this feature.
Yeah, but why? Like that's
I'm saying it's not a pointless phrase for some reason. Like maybe that's a flavor thing for this is the idea. Like if you already have absorbed that magic of an echo, you can't absorb another one until that one is used up.
I guess that's fair.
But it's not a meaningless.
You're right. It's not. It's not. I misinterpreted what it was intending. I see that as kind of asinine.
Yeah, I think it's stupid, but it.
You're right. It does serve mechanical purpose. You're right there. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Also, why if you just get 2d6 temp hit points, why wouldn't your day start out? Well, I summon an echo and take out my sword and I murder him. And now I'm with 2d6 plus my con modifier temp hit points every morning.
Yeah,
why wouldn't you?
You would.
That's just what you do.
Everyone will do that with this.
Yeah.
Now that you've said that.
Yeah, and it's that's not the point that was going for this. That they were going for.
Yeah, they should make it last a time or something.
Yeah, it should last up to 10 minutes would be a really easy way to handle that.
Yeah, and even that you can kind of go into a battle. You just can't go into a surprised battle with it, but...
Yeah, murdering my echo every morning.
I don't fully,
What would that be?
It doesn't fully work for me on any level.
Yeah, and even then, mechanically, I just don't understand. This is not the fantasy that I want, right? Getting 10 hit points because alternate timeline versions of myself die. That's not the class fantasy I want out of this class. It's not bad. It doesn't take away from the class fantasy, I don't think. It's not a necessarily even unbalanced feature. That's an average of 7 plus your con modifier 10 hit points, 12. That's not going to break the bank. But I'm just not into it either. It's a kind of meh feature. It's all right, oh wow, hey, I got this thing, I guess, feature. You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
Well, it's not terrible. Let's talk about that Legion of One feature, this level 18 one. Do you want to take them?
Sure. Legion of One, you can use a bonus action to create 2 echoes with your Manifest Echo feature, and these echoes can coexist. If you try to create a third echo, the previous 2 echoes are destroyed. Anything you do from one echo's position can be done from the others instead. In addition, when you roll initiative and have no uses of your Unleash Incarnation feature left, you regain 1 use of that feature.
Yeah, this is funky.
So it doesn't actually seem like it does anything.
Well, let's scroll back up here to this Manifest Echo. As a bonus action, you can teleport magic swapping places with your Echo. So I guess you can swap places between now 2 options, maybe. When you take the attack action on your turn, any attack made can originate from the Echo space. Okay, I guess it'd be this Unleash Incarnation. Whenever you take the attack action, you can make 1 additional melee attack from the Echo's position. So does that now become from each Echo's position?
It doesn't. Or I think it's just you have 2
I think
options.
it's just you pick 1.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem to... This feature doesn't really give you any power other than give you another option to teleport to.
Yeah, I would have liked if this feature let you extend the range to 60 feet for the Echoes instead of 30. That would have been cool.
I would have liked it if it let you attack with both Echoes.
Yeah.
Because that
For
seems
level
like the
18.
dream of this attack. When I first started summoning an Echo, the immediate thought I have, well, I want more of these things. I want a whole bunch of me's running around.
Yeah.
And this was that, but it didn't let you do anything cool with
I'll
it.
say, I think this is a balanced feature.
Certainly. I think it's underpowered.
I think this is, yeah, I mean, maybe compared to what a lot of fighters get at 18th level, I think this might be actually pretty balanced. But
what are the other 18 level ones? What does like Champion get?
I think Champion regains 10 hit points at the start of its turn if it's below half hit points. That's what its feature is.
It's a little better than this.
Does it? Being able to teleport to more places is really worse?
Well, you're always going to go to a place that, because you're doing it on your turn, so you're always going to go to a place that you want to go to anyway. So basically what this lets you do is lets you have another opportunity attack option potential. But it's not like you get extra opportunity attacks. You still have to use your reaction for the opportunity attack.
I feel like because the teleportation is limited by 15 feet of move. Oh, it's still a bonus action and 15 feet of your movement. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, it's also
this
like
weird.
With 2 echoes and 30 feet using your teleportation, they'll be within 30 feet of you, but then it means they also have to be 30 feet of each other if you're going.
And one will go away.
Yeah. So it just seems like a kind of a bad feature that I wouldn't like. It's not like it's bad to have it, but it
doesn't fulfill the class fantasy we want it to, which is a legion of echoes in the name of it.
Yeah, exactly. Additionally, like
a counting minigame, not anymore. Yeah, really.
The biggest thing that this gets is the extra use of Unleash Incarnation. You get to use it once if you ran out of it. That's like bigger than the rest of it.
I think the Sorcerer Capstone has a similar one for its meta magics or something. And
yeah, it's such a 5e
oh my
thing,
god,
and I hate it.
Oh, it's awful. It's just like, well, if you're out of abilities, so you can't really do the stuff that makes your class fun. Well, you can do it once, and then you can't do it again.
Yeah, it's like such a bummer.
It's just like, well, okay, so I get to be fun for one turn.
Score too, like the number of times you're able to use that resource. I don't know. It's like
you're gonna have that max by that point. You're a fighter. You got like a million.
That's
ASIs.
true. You got a lot of ASIs, but
well, who knows? This is interesting, but I'm not sure it's. I don't know. There are some really cool features here. So I think what I might take away on the Echo Knight.
It starts off strong and ends a little weak. So maybe that's like all the power is right in 3rd level.
Yeah. The question is, how strong is the teleportation, right? And I think that's up to each individual player and how they play it and how the DM, and how the GM adjudicates it. Because, like, for example, right, I could see some really cool stuff with this fighter of like, one of my allies fell off of a cliff. I leaped from the cliff to rescue them. I grabbed them or something, and give them my token of feather falling. And then I'm going to use my bonus action to teleport back to my Echo. And it's sick, right? Like there could be some really neat stuff.
I mean, even just the more mundane potential of like, well, I just teleport up the cliff.
Yeah, right. Or like I leap into the belly of the Tarrasque, but I'm free.
That's the thing I'm on really the subject of dope stuff you could do with this. I guess that doesn't work. I was trying to teleport twice in one turn, but you could hit a bird by teleporting, making an Echo appear 30 feet up, and then swapping with your Echo and stabbing the bird in midair, but then you do fall 30 feet still.
Well, the thing that gets me, right, is you don't have to see the Echo. So this will like hard counter creatures that like with swallow mechanics that normally...
you don't have to see the spot where you teleport?
No, you don't have to see it. It's really powerful. I mean, I think this has way more powerful than even we're giving it credit for, which is kind of why these other features are less big.
Still, I think they could put a little bit more love into 18, but...
I'd like to see less power early, because that makes cross-classing. Oh, God.
But also, keep in mind, this is official published. This is canon.
Yeah, this isn't changing.
This is it.
Yeah. And I will say, I'm glad that they went in a bit more wild a direction for a setting-specific thing. It's kind of like why I like the Artificer being part of Eberron, right? Is if you're not playing an Eberron game, you have there's no obligation for you to allow an Eberron, to allow an Artificer in your not Eberron campaign.
Despite what
if
your
you're a
players will
DM.
inevitably tell you when they want to run it.
Yeah, well, if they want to run it, maybe that's a good reason to reconsider and let them run it. But and maybe have a sit-down discussion if you have an issue with the artificer. And the same thing goes for this, right? There are a lot of things where you need to sit down, and I think you need to make sure both the dungeon master and the player are on the same page with how far this echo really goes. Because there's some, I mean, I could see myself as a DM allowing a player to roll skill checks from their echo, to have it sneak ahead, right, and do reconnaissance
So let's
with
do
this echo avatar.
Let's do a quick recap on the Echo Knight before we move on to the next one here. Echo Knight, thoughts? A little too strong early, cool. Could use a little bit more love late. It is cool. The Echo works pretty well. I'm happy with the way that they ended up doing it.
Rubric.
It seems fun to play with.
Yeah. Flavorful, boom. Space, boom. Design, boom. Balance, I don't know. Playability.
I think the answer is there's also a question on playability, but I think I
think in a game with a board, playability's fine. Theater of the mind, playability's a question.
Yeah.
But overall, it's not too bad.
Guide.
Yeah, so let's move on to our new wizard subclasses. There are 2 wizard subclasses that also came out in the Explorer's Guide to Wildemount, and they are the Chronurgy wizard, the Chronurgist. They use Chronurgy magic, which is, I guess, a sub-tradition of Dunamancy that is all about time. And the other one, which we're going to talk about later, is Graviturgy, which focuses on gravity, sub kind of level of this Dunamancy potentiality, time and space, timey-wimey stuff. So, Pete, let me talk about the Chronurgist, and then you can jump into Chronal Shift.
Yeah,
focusing on the manipulation of time. Those who follow the Chronergy tradition learn to alter the pace of reality to their liking. Using the ramping of anticipatory dunamis energy, these mages can bend the flow of time as adroitly as a skilled musician plays an instrument, lending themselves and their allies an advantage in the blink of an eye. I like it. It's very, very, a lot of actually nice metaphors in there. I like the musician kind of metaphor going on.
Yeah. I don't know why they use the word adroitly.
Yeah, a little weird choice there, but I get it.
I mean, it's not incorrect. It's a funny choice. Sure, let's look at... I like the flavor. I mean, a time wizard seems like something that almost should already have been in the game.
Really?
Let's look at Chronal Shift here, the first feature. You can magically exert limited control over the flow of time around a creature. As a reaction, after you or a creature you can see within 30 feet of you makes an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw, you can force the creature to re-roll. You make this decision after you see whether the roll succeeds or fails. The target must use the result of the second roll. You can use this ability twice, and you regain any expended uses when you finish a long rest.
It's kind of weird.
Very straightforward feature.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's very gamey, but I think that almost works for time.
Yeah, no, it works for time. I agree.
I hate the saving throw part. I really dislike the saving throw part. I always hate the saving throw part. And being able to affect enemy saving throws is so strong. Kind of like a diviner, Daza is saying in the chat, or Daza. Apologize if I say it wrong. Feel free to correct me.
That's what I was thinking too.
Kind of. I don't think this is stomping on the diviner.
I do think it is. This to me seems very much like kind of the same ability, which is the diviner. You know, it has a specific number, and this is just a hard reroll. But at the end of the day, it's you wait until after the results are, and if you don't like the results, you can affect them to something else. It's just the diviner has more control over it, and this is more up to chance. It seems kind of like the same feature, really, to me. Mechanically, maybe you can make a justification for how the flavor changes as a result.
Yeah, and I think the flavor does change, right? It's like, oh, well, that timeline's bad. Different timeline. Let's go. Yeah. And I think in that aspect...
I'd rather play the diviner's just cooler version of this to me.
I probably agree, but this is where this difference is a little bit from the Diviner in that it's temporal awareness that it also gets a second level. Because I agree, the Diviner, I think, just does that second level feature better in a different way. And again, you can use the ability twice, just like the Diviner gets it twice. So, lol. But temporal awareness, you add your initiative modifier to intelligence modifier to initiative rolls. So, I can see that. Daza was saying the lucky feat. Yeah, the Chronal Shift is kind of like luck, except it can be any creature you can see. It's not just you or a creature attacking you, which is why
bad luck for your enemies too.
Yeah. But temporal awareness, I think, is a nice addition. Actually, I think it fits very well for this theme of the Time Wizard.
Yeah, it fits. I agree. We'll talk momentary stasis.
You take it away, Pete.
Sure. Momentary stasis. With an action, you can magically force a large or smaller creature you can see within 60 feet of you to make a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. Unless the saving throw is a success, that's a weird way of phrasing that, the creature is encased in a field of magical energy until the end of your next turn, or until the creature takes any damage. While encased in this way, the creature is incapacitated and has a speed of 0. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, a minimum of once. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. I don't know how good I think this is.
What spell save? It's incapacitation breaks concentration, so that's something to note. They can't take actions or reactions. They can still be attacked, right? Oh, until they take damage.
But if they take damage, it ends. So if this is really good against
how long does it last?
Until the end of the next turn, I think, right? Yeah, at the end of your next turn. This is really good
action
in a in a one-on-one. I think it's too good in a one-on-one.
I think it's even better in like a 2-on-1. Like,
if you're fighting one enemy, I think it's really good.
I don't know, because then they have to take damage.
Well, what happens is
better if there's 2 enemies and you can just take one enemy out. It's like a 1-turn banishment.
Yeah, but it's a 1-turn banishment. It's just 1 turn. That's exactly okay. Let me put it this way: it's 1-turn banishment, and you and your allies doing a 1-turn banishment is really good against one thing, because then you just get to set up a kill round where you wait until your next turn and everyone gets to ready to action, make an attack, and you do it.
God, you're right. You're right. Yeah, and to be able to use this a number of times equal to your int modifier.
And
the way this interacts with
reroll saves.
The way this interacts with ready to actions is like, oh gosh. Definitely not the way they intended ready actions to work in 5e, but they work. Yeah, the Nova round. Back in the glory days of 4th edition.
It's the Nova round. So it's good. It's probably too good. Also, it's not even like, usually stuff like this specifies humanoids or something, and this is just anything you can use this on. It scales really well. Like the endgame Lich, you can use this on just as well as you can on...
It's not a spell, so it can't be counterspelled. I think that's really important to note.
Yep. This is a really powerful feature. The more I look at it, the more I'm...
Yeah, this is maybe busted. Hard to say. But maybe busted.
You can use this feature to abjure Frazzle for a round.
Like, I'm just trying to think. Auto's Irresistible Dance. Well, no, that's Irresistible Dance. I guess it's not really a spell that does quite what this does.
You know what also is kind of strange about it, and I think kind of problematic, is that...
Tasha City's Laughter does what this does.
It is...
But just differently.
Well, it's also not a condition.
Yeah, that's true. There's no condition, so
there's no condition immunity to this.
Oh gosh, this has a lot of problems. What on earth? How did this go through like this?
Like, it feels like this should be... They should be considered stunned or something. Like...
Yeah, well, almost nothing's immune to stun. very little,
Yeah,
few
but just
constructs, but
something that like something that you could be immune to, instead of this neutral, like nothing is immune to incapacitated. I don't think, unless there's something that's part of
well,
their lore. But
it's interesting. The Forgotten One saying dispel magic. It could be dispelled because it's magical, but dispel magic specifically targets. What does it say? A spell of 3rd level or lower on the spell ends. It
Yep.
does not affect non-spells.
Yeah, magical effects.
I wonder, does anti-magic field even affect this?
Anti-magic field would.
Anti-life field
Magical
doesn't.
effect.
Yeah, I think spells and other magical effects don't. Okay, so anti-magic field would, but that is it.
I mean, creatures are going to have magic resistance, which will apply to this, but like,
Ooh. It does
Anyways,
dispel magical effects, but I'm saying, yeah, I'd have to read it again.
it's really good.
But yeah, not being able to counterspell this is insane too. I don't know. I don't like this at all.
Yeah, let's talk Arcane Abeyance.
Yeah. When you cast a spell using a spell slot of 4th level or lower, you can condense the spell's magic into a mote. The spell is frozen in time at the moment of casting and held within a gray bead for 1 hour. The bead is a tiny object with an AC of 15 and 1 hit point and is immune to poison and psychic damage. When the duration ends, or if the bead is destroyed, it vanishes in a flash of light and spell is lost. Okay. Creature holding the bead can use its action to release a spell within, whereupon the bead disappears. The spell uses your spell attack bonus and spell save DC, and the spell treats the creature who released it as a caster for all other purposes. Once you create a bead of this feature, you can't do it again until you finish a shorter long rest.
Kind of cool.
This is like weird. This reminds me of the old artificer that could put spells and coins and stuff. I don't know how I feel about this. I guess it's fine. You only get one of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
weird.
it's kind of cool.
Legendary saves. Yeah, exactly, Daza. I see that level 6 feature as well. Goodbye, legendary action or legendary resistances. Also, welcome, Thunder Lily.
Welcome. Hello there.
Many works. Actually, time is not magic being related, so all the stuff I want to do is immune. Yeah, right. But you want to talk about Convergent Future?
Do we have nothing else to say? Is Arcane Abeyance that one that we have like nothing to say about that whole feature?
Yeah, I got nothing else to say about Arcane Abeyance. You put a spell in a bead. It's got pretty decent little mechanics for it. I have no problem with this guy.
Is it fun?
I'm sure there's some really no. You know what? I'm positive there is some busted stuff about this because the spell treats the creature who released it as the caster. I am positive there are some incredibly whack features that you can do with this by like giving a sorcerer some feature from something else. Like, because with this, a sorcerer could use this to twin spell this ability. Whatever spell you give them. Because they're the caster.
That's interesting. But I'm sure they could have gotten that spell. If it was like busted, I'm sure they could have gotten that spell from somewhere else. Like,
4th level? It's hard to get 4th level spells unless they're in your spell list.
You just take some levels in Bard, dog.
If you take 10 levels in Bard, I'm just saying, I'm willing to bet there's some weird stuff you can do with this that I just can't consider off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm with you. You're probably right about that. Anyway,
there's gotta be some whack features.
I just wanted to make sure that we were covering our bases on that one.
But contingency can't be put in here, which is yes, 4th level or lower. So you can't put a contingency in Arcane Abeyance.
Contingency is my favorite spell. Convergent Future is the capstone here. You can peer through possible futures and magically pull one of them into events around you, ensuring a particular outcome. I like that phrase. That's cool. When you or a creature you can see within 60 feet of you makes an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw, you can use your reaction to ignore the die roll and decide whether the number rolled is the minimum needed to succeed or one less than that number, your choice. When you use this feature, you gain 1 level of exhaustion. Only by finishing a long rest can you remove a level of exhaustion gain in this way.
Whoa, but you can do it as many times as you want until you... Oh, I see.
I love this.
Oh, boy. It's funny. I made a magical item that was a cloak that would always make your die roll one less than the minimal to
I
succeed.
remember, and I loved that cloak.
I love it as well. I like this feature a lot.
Yeah, it's a great feature.
The thing is,
it's bad. It's bad design, but I love the feature.
Yep. God, wait. Ignore the die roll and decide whether the number rolled is the minimum needed to succeed or one less than that. See, it shouldn't say the number rolled. It should say the total roll. But whatever. Text minutia aside, the intent here.
Well, actually, but then if they say the number rolled, there are scenarios where the number that you could roll would be lower than the minimum needed to succeed. For example, a natural 20 could be for a person with a +1 bonus to hit fighting someone with a 22 AC, which technically would still miss.
Well, it hit because it's a natural 20.
Because it's a crit. But like, for example, a skill check of that nature, those don't automatically succeed because they're crits. Everyone just plays it that way.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, for example, right, let's take this feature and say, all right, I am going to use this on my fighter, or let's say it's an enemy using it on, or you're using it on an enemy fighter, right? An enemy character, and all right, one less than the minimum need to succeed. Okay, cool. So their number rolled is one less than the minimum they need to succeed. So let's say they get a 17 and they needed an 18. Okay, what if they have like a spell like Bless, right? Or if they have a Bardic Inspiration die? How does that interact with this? Can I be like, all right, well, I have one less than I need. I'm going to roll my Bardic Inspiration die, succeed. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is just it. That's why I said it needs to say the total roll, because that would say, all right, it doesn't matter what your Bless is or your Bardic Inspiration or...
Well, either way, if you're using this feature, like, you're using this feature to buff your allies, and so that wouldn't matter because you just pick the minimum to succeed either way.
Whoa, why? Why would you use it to buff your allies? You could use it to crush your enemies.
I think it's better buffing your allies, actually. I guess it's also really good against your enemies.
Auto-fail legendary... Oh, my God.
Yeah, auto-force legendary resistance. Yeah, it's also really good. You get feeble... Like, Lich, you're feeble-minded. Yeah, it's, like, really good, too. But what I'm saying is that, like, if they have Bardic Inspiration or whatever, it doesn't matter. You're already picking the way that you want it to be, and enemies don't get stuff like that usually, so...
Yeah, usually, you're right. But I'm just saying, there are some circumstances where I could see a player get really bummed out with this kind of a deal. Like fighting something that maybe does... Because there are creatures that do get bonuses like that, I think.
I can't think of anything.
Or if a player, God forbid, is using the... or a Dungeon Master is using the options to give monsters class levels, right? That is an option in the dungeon.
That would be exactly the thing, is if there's like, if the DM has made a bard that is fighting with an enemy.
Yeah, just something to think about, like where that could be a little funky.
But maybe that's intended too. Like,
it's just weird. I like Just Otherness. By the way, welcome Just Otherness. Your idea.
I started out my statement on this saying like, I love this, but it's terrible design.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And the reason that I say that it's terrible design is actually not because of any of that. I think that all that is fine-ish. It's the one level of exhaustion thing. It completely limits the design space for exhaustion moving forward if you have this feature, because now you can no longer allow anything in the game that has the ability to get rid of exhaustion efficiently, or this feature becomes end-all be-all.
Well, it says specifically
feature
that you can only remove this exhaustion by doing.
I didn't fully interpret.
Oh yeah.
That. Okay, cool. Never mind. I didn't process what that meant for it when I read it.
Yeah, no, the only way you can remove this exhaustion is doing that.
Okay.
And I like that actually. I think that is
it has
cool.
To be true.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. But it's just weird. I can see this blowing up in a player's face, and I can feel bad. I also Just Otherness was saying, you get to do this 5 times per day, or 6 times if it's the last session of the campaign. Yeah. I could not I find it hard to see if there's a big fight going on if your first 3 reactions are not, I use Convergent Future. I use Convergent Future. I use Convergent Future.
And you can't do that,
you know?
though.
those are your first 3 turns worth, or first 3 rounds worth of reactions.
I'm saying you can't use it 5 times because at a certain point you become unable to take actions, right?
No, you just can't move at
I
5.
thought.
Your movement becomes 0.
Let me look at it really quick.
Yeah, it's disadvantage on ability checks, disadvantage
Okay, so
on
you never
everything.
become
half speed.
incapacitated. You just die.
Yeah, you just die.
Yeah, so you can technically use it 5 times a day.
Yeah. You get 1 reaction per turn, exactly, Daza. Daza.
5 times a week.
Yeah, well, and that's it. If you're in the final boss of the encounter of your game, your first 3 turns, or even not the final boss, just a big boss battle, your first 3 turns, first 3 rounds, right? This is your reaction. I do that. You use a legendary resistance or you die, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. It's just 3 guaranteed, like by turn 4, they're dead. If you can guarantee something fails its saving throw, it's going to be really hard for it to live. By third exhaustion,
but legendary resistance, and also I feel like true end game situations, it's like,
I don't know.
I'm biased towards features like this. For example, I was a fan of the genie feature that gives you consumable wishes to use. I like stuff like this that creates a really cool dramatic moment towards the end of your game. And when you're getting this feature, 14th level is maybe a touch early, but that's just where the wizard capstone is. But when you're getting stuff like this is just really cool, and I would want to be able to do this.
And I understand this is Critical Role, right? Is the game that this was kind of designed originally around and for. I think the game that you play also heavily impacts how big this feature is and how meaningful it is. Like, I'm not sure, and maybe I'm wrong here, but for the most part, once a battle's over in that game, the battle's over, right? There's not a lot of escape the collapsing ruins kind of thing where this exhaustion really hurts you. And I think, depending on your style of DMing, right, if you have a lot of those dramatic escape sequences at the end of your combats, this feature is way more of a risk because that exhaustion, oh my lord, even 1 level is crippling in a skill challenge, escape the collapsing temple, right, or whatever kind of scenario. It's cool.
Yeah, it is.
I think we can agree. Wouldn't the mooks just kill the F out of the mage with 3 levels of exhaustion? Yeah, maybe. It depends on, if you're running a game with mooks. A lot of games, that just have the one big bad is how a lot of DMs run things.
I don't have
a lot of
bad. I'm a proponent of one big bad.
I like lots of minions. But yeah, I think that how valuable and powerful this is can really depend on how you're running things and how the game works. But overall, Pete, let's talk a little bit about the Chronurgist overall. What's our summary here?
This one is really strong. This class seems a little bit imba in the favor of being too powerful. I like it. I would want to play it, but also some of these features, honestly, I don't know. Up until we got to that last convergent future feature, I don't know how much of this honestly really felt that time manipulation-y to me.
Well, and this is something to note, is there are spell options in this Explorer's Guide to Wildemount book that are just for the Chronurgist.
Yeah. So I forgot about that. So we'll just
only for the Chronurgist, not for any other wizard. Yeah, it's just for this subclass.
That's interesting. That's a new direction.
It is. I don't like it, but I get it. And I think that might help to fill in some of that gap that you're feeling.
So maybe. But only.
And actually, Thunderly was just saying it, right? You think you can't judge this class without seeing the spells it gets. And we're going to talk about those probably another time, just because time is somewhat a limiter here.
Yeah, so I guess I would say that I feel like it doesn't quite hit that time control bubble for me, but I would guess I would have to see those spells that are designed specifically for it to fill in that flavor. I don't dislike it. I think there's a lot of tools I would have fun using. a little bit powerful, but overall I'm fine with it.
Just beyond like the chronal shift and temporal awareness, that alone like at least scratches that time manipulation vibe, or that time manipulation itch rather. I don't like momentary stasis at all. Arcane Abeyance I think is cool. I think that works really well. Convergent Future I like. I'll be honest, I do really like it, but I also could see it being a problem in certain games or with certain groups rather.
I can definitely see there are players who would be problematic with that feature.
Yeah. And actually, Just Otherness mentioned, this needs to be on a lich or something immune to fatigue. Yeah, right? I wonder if there's a way to make a player character immune to exhaustion.
Then you'd be a god.
Yeah, I wonder if there is. And that would make this a very, interesting thing.
This is the kind of thing that the player asks for a magic item that makes them immune to exhaustion really early on before the DM has read it.
Gotta read these.
I was gonna say, before the DM has read it, and then they hit 14th level, and they're like, the campaign is mine now.
Also, I just one design issue here, just to note, is Convergent Future's got a reaction that's really built in and required. So does Chronal Shift. It's not the worst thing in the world, but there's a lot of reaction there. I guess there's a few number of uses, so it's not the worst thing in the world. But just something to mention, they are fighting over the same action. Let's talk about Graviturgist, Pete.
Love to.
I'm sorry, we're going pretty late, folks. I apologize. Or I guess better for you guys. You get more stuff.
Let's talk about Graviturgy magic. Understanding and mastering the forces that draw bodies of matter together or drive them apart, the students of the Graviturgy arcane tradition learn to further bend and manipulate the violent energy of gravity to their benefit and to the terrible detriment of their enemies. So, pretty straightforward. You manipulate gravity and get people with it.
All right, so adjust density is a second level feature you get, and this is the only second level feature you get. I like just a single hallmark feature design.
Agreed. Oh, I'm sorry. Is this a wizard?
It's a wizard, yes. It's a wizard subclass.
Yeah, okay.
Just like the Chronurgist, the Graviturgist is a wizard. Second level Graviturgy feature is an action you can magically alter the weight of one object or creature you can see within 30 feet of you. The object or creature must be larger or smaller. Its weight is halved or doubled for up to 1 minute or until your concentration ends as if concentrating on a spell. Cool. While the weight of a creature is halved by this effect, the creature's speed increases by 10 feet and it can jump twice as far as normal. I like that. And it has disadvantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. Okay. While the weight of a creature is doubled by the effect, its speed is reduced by 10 feet. It has advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. Okay. Upon reaching 10th level in this class, you can target an object creature that is huge or smaller. There's no saving throw on this, so you can just pick a creature as an action and give it disadvantage on strength saving throws forever? Or how long does this last? 1 minute, as you have to concentrate. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but I don't think it's that good. I think it's fine. I have no issue with this feature.
Yeah, there's not a lot of spells that require strength saving throws, are there? I have to really look at them and figure that out.
Things that like entangle and stuff like that, stuff that wizards don't even get. I would bet you that the Graviturgist has spells that rely on strength saving throws.
Yeah, you're probably correct. I just see that as like potentially very dangerous. A no check disadvantage on saves is really strong.
I don't know, an action to create it, it's a concentration thing, so most of the good stuff that you're going to cast on someone, you'd have to break concentration in order to cast it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think the way that would stack is you would have to break concentration to cast it, so they wouldn't have disadvantage on the save against your cool gravity spell. So I don't know. Yeah, I think it's fine.
Not sure how I feel about it, to be frank. Let's look at gravity well.
I want to say another thing about this. I like that you can just do it. I like that you can just use it as much as you want, and this is just this is just what you do.
I think that the Transmutation Wizard does that really well too with their Minor Alchemy, I think. Oh god, it's probably not what it's called. Minor Transmutation. They can just change things from one form to another a little bit. I think this is akin to that. It works. You have this free lesser control over gravity. I like it. I'm with you there, Pete. You want to talk about gravity well?
Sure. You've learned how to manipulate gravity around a living being. Whenever you cast a spell on a creature, you can move the target 5 feet to an unoccupied space of your choice if the target is willing to move. The spell hits it with an attack, or it fails a saving throw against the spell. The target is willing to move, the spell hits it with an attack, or it fails a saving throw against the spell. Okay, so you can just, every time
if your spell works, you can move them.
You can move someone 5 feet. I think that is another great feature. I really like that.
Yeah, interesting note, because it's any spell, so including cantrips.
I'm okay with that.
I am as well. I think this is actually pretty cool.
For example, I love the idea of your firebolt having an effect on it. You get to cast the firebolt cantrip as a wizard, which is, I feel like, one that a lot of people pick, but doesn't do anything cool. And then you're knocking people off cliffs.
Cool.
You're knocking people off cliffs with it, or you're moving people into threat range of your fighter, or there's a lot of stuff you can do.
Or, I mean, like just others were saying, if you buff an ally, right, haste, and you pull those 2 hasted enemies out of harm's reach.
Yeah, that's another really cool. I see just otherness there. That's a really cool idea as well.
Nice and simple too. Nice and simple and very, very fulfilling of that flavor.
Agreed. I think that's the best design thing I think we've seen so far, honestly.
Yeah, very concise and very, very neat. Violent attraction. And actually one last thing about that. I like if the target is willing, if it is an attack, or if it fails a saving throw. I like that just concise little bit of text that perfectly describes who this can affect. So, very good. Violent attraction, though. When another creature that you can see within 60 feet of you hits with a weapon attack, you can use your reaction to increase the attack's velocity, causing the attack's target to take an extra 1d10 damage of the weapon's type. Alternatively, if a creature within 60 feet of you takes damage from a fall, you can use your reaction to decrease the fall's damage by 2d10. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum of once. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. This is a very tame feature.
It is.
Man, the other one was so wild, and this is so tame.
I assume that's intentional?
Yeah, I mean, it must be. I'm just surprised. I expected this one to be a little wild, kind of like the other guy.
I actually like this as well.
I do as well. No, this is a nice little...
Wizards get shields, but they don't have a lot of attacks on their reaction, and just giving you something to do all the time with a reaction, because they're not good at they don't even really do opportunity attacks. I think that this is a fun little play.
I tend to agree. I like this a lot. I think this is a really nice little... nice move.
Agreed. Let me take Event Horizon here.
Yeah,
Great
please.
Name. Great name.
Excellent name. Excellent addition.
As an action, you can magically emit a powerful field of gravitational energy that tugs at other creatures for up to 1 minute, or until your concentration ends, as if you were concentrating on a spell. For the duration, whenever a creature hostile to you starts its turn within 30 feet of you, it must make a strength saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, it takes 2d10 force damage, and its speed is reduced to 0 until the start of its next turn. On a successful save, it takes half as much damage, and every foot it moves costs 2 extra feet of movement. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, or you expend a spell slot of 3rd level or higher on it. We finally now see that spell slot mechanic in actual play. It's not like it was a surprise. They've been wanting to put it in for a while now, but here it is.
Yeah. Well, it's there now. It's published. Oh, well. What do you think about this guy, Pete? Strength saving throw.
So it's you. It's based on you.
Yeah.
Whatever
starts within 30 feet of you, yeah. It's got to roll a strength saving throw. That's all. Speed reduced to 0 is pretty strong.
So in my mind, I was thinking like that since you are the field, I was imagining that it was pulling people towards you, but the idea is it's just weighing down around you.
Yeah, exactly. You are the event horizon. They cannot approach you, is the idea, which I think that's actually really cool, fitting to the concept of an event horizon, right?
Yeah, I am also pretty okay with this. I actually, this feature, I'm not crazy. I haven't. This is maybe the first one of these. Weirdly, I've had a problem with it, but I actually don't like being able to do this a lot with spell slots, especially because a wizard has a full spell casting suite and can get a 3rd level spell slot really easy. And this is a pretty powerful endgame effect, albeit it is a concentration.
Well, the thing is, right, you can give a creature disadvantage on strength saves and then remove its speed forever with strength saves. Like, I don't know. I dislike
you can't
that.
give it disadvantage on strength saves because they both of these features require concentration.
Oh, you're right. Man, that's gonna feel bad for
everyone who assumes it works that way.
Yeah, that's gonna feel bad for the player who figures that out and goes, "Oh, well, crap."
What I want this to is make it a 1 a day and not require concentration.
I don't like that.
Yeah, that's what I would want it to be, but
yikes.
That's not the world.
I would rather it have no save, just do the 2d10 damage and reduce their speed like it does on a successful save.
That would be okay as well.
Just have it just do all the normal damage, and then you can have no concentration on it. You just are the gravity well.
That's
a note, Pete. By the way, I just quickly glanced through the spells that are in this. There is only one spell that requires a strength saving throw. That is new in the book.
Is it a concentration spell?
It is concentration up to a minute, but it's a 9th level spell.
Well,
so I'm not that concerned.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I think this is fine. It's like.
Oh yeah. Now I don't really have too big of an issue with it because it's the concentration.
So recap.
I would have done it different, but
want to recap the Graviturgist?
It is great. This is a really, really tame. Whoever, when they went and made this, they really took it tamely. They went at it from a very direct and conservative direction, and I like it a lot.
Agreed. I think this is the best design of all of the things that we've looked at so far, for certain.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. It seems fun to play with. A lot of cool tools that I can see players getting really into. I think this is a well-designed subclass, and I would want to play this, absolutely. I guess we have to learn more about it when we look at the spells, but I also think, like, unlike the time one for me, this one really realizes the ideal of you are a gravity manipulating wizard.
Oh, absolutely. I think it absolutely does that, and I like it a lot. Very cool. I mean, the other one, it's not that this one doesn't realize it, the Chronurgist. It just, I don't think it does it quite as simply.
Yeah, this one does a better job of it.
I agree. But overall, compare these 3, Echo Knight, Chronurgist, Graviturgist, I think these are all pretty good. I think the Echo Knight is, as much as, I was talking about how Manifest Echo might be too powerful and that because of teleportation and that the other farts fall off toward the end, I think this is actually a very, very tame and pretty well-restrained implementation of a shadow clone fighter, right?
Yeah.
I think pretty solid. It's just that one Chronurgist feature that really gives me worry, that level 6
momentary
feature.
stasis,
Yeah. Everything else here is very, very solid, which if you are familiar with some of Matt's other homebrew, like the Blood Hunter, this is definitely a huge step forward from coming out of Critical Role. This is some like high quality content, I think.
Agreed.
Not that the other ones were poor by necessarily, but they were definitely a lot rougher around the edges. These are very, you can tell just in the writing of them, there's a lot more finesse in the implementation. I like it. This is very exciting. I'm super excited to read the rest of the book now. Holy crap.
Yeah, there's a lot more to this. I'm looking forward to doing those spells. Odds are, I'm not going to say this 100% because I don't know what the plan is right now, but odds are we'll probably talk about those on Fantasy Labs as well.
We'll probably talk. Are we doing Fantasy Labs next weekend, Pete?
What day is
That's the 29th. So yeah, that would be a Fantasy Labs day.
So we'll probably talk about those next week, but again, don't hold us to that because
no promises. I love it though. Pete, I've got something really cool that I'm working on for the fighter. I'll talk to you about it after the show. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in for these 2 segments. We're going to jump to our 3rd and final segment of the show in just a moment.